Aesthetically speaking, penguins are a pretty fun animal. I think we can all agree. They are adorable. They're fun to watch. But there comes a time when you have to realize that not all penguins are good. In particular, when you're playing board games. And there's two pieces of media that I turn to help remind me that not all penguins should be rooted for. The first is the Don Bluth classic, The Pebble and the Penguin. Another would be the Scamper, the Penguin, another animated feature in which you see the selfishness in those creatures, and it's something to bear in mind that maybe not all penguins need to be rooted for, and that's something you need to keep in mind when you're playing Deep Dive, the push your luck game from Flatout Games and AEG. On the surface, Deep Dive is a cute, aesthetically pleasing, adorable little push your luck game, but just below the surface you realize it becomes much more cutthroat. In this game, 1 to 4 players attempt to eat as much food as possible, and in the process score the most endgame points. Each player chooses their color and takes the 3 corresponding penguins. You use tiles to create the 5 depths of the ocean. You pre-prepare everything. You take out a certain amount of tiles based on the number of players. The tiles are color coordinated. There's also pips on each one, so you know exactly which level of the ocean you're dealing with. And you flip them face down, mix them all up, and you've got 5 separate layers. With each specific depth, the point prospects grow, but so do the dangers. On a player's turn, they start at the top level, the number 1 station, and they can either take a face-up tile, which includes food or rock, or they can flip a new one. And if they flip a new one, one of a few different things can happen. If it's a predator, and this applies to any single level, they place one of their penguin tokens on that predator and it is stuck there. The benefit to this is that if you have a penguin that is stuck on a predator, in any given row, you can skip over that row. Now, if a bubble is flipped over, you instantly have to go to the next level. There's no stopping to take food. You automatically have to keep going, which is risky because, as I said, each specific layer gets more and more dangerous. Now, a rock could show up and you could choose to take that rock and end your turn. Sorry, a pebble. Penguins eat pebbles to help them dive, apparently, as is evident in this game. And so what those pebbles can be used for is your penguin can swallow it, and then it advances their ability to dive faster, thus avoiding potential dangers. Or it's a food tile, and you have the option of leaving that food tile face up, potentially for another player to take. And if you do that, you can advance to the next depth, or you take it. As you start taking these food tiles, there are 3 different colors. And as you take them and end your turn by taking one of the pieces of food, it has a numeric point value, but you set it in front of you in a line. And once it's set down in front of you, you can't move it. All the colors go in their own column, right next to each other. So the rows are 3 separate colors. The columns are all one single color. You only score full points when you have an entire row consisting of 3 different colors. So as the game progresses, you want to make sure that you have a balance of all 3 colors, because you don't score the entire point value unless you have that. I could have the highest scoring green tiles, but if I have the entire amount, if I only have green tiles, I'm only going to score half points for all of those tiles. As the game progresses, the ocean gets more and more dangerous. As your penguins get stuck, once all 3 are stuck, you take them back and you can take a piece of food on the way up. But again, the benefit to having penguins stuck on predators is you can skip past certain layers of the ocean. And so in lies a certain amount of strategy, in that it's okay for your penguins to get trapped. Sometimes you just don't necessarily want to get all 3 of them trapped, because then you have to start from scratch. There is a push and pull of the benefit of grabbing a lower pointed tile to complete one of your rows may outweigh the benefit of diving deeper to get higher scoring pieces of food if it's not going to complete those rows for you. And it's those small strategic decisions that helps what is a very cute, very adorable little game stand out amongst other push your luck games. And I admit I am a bit of a sucker for push your luck games, especially ones geared towards children. There's a game called, I think it's like Red Light, Green Light, Target sold it, and I thoroughly enjoy it, and I play it with my kids not infrequently. And the nice thing about a push your luck game geared towards kids is that the decisions are kept simple, but it still has that stress of a push your luck game of making the decision, do I continue to try to improve my stance or do I stop? But let's focus on some things that stood out to me that I didn't particularly love. One are the ocean tiles themselves. Now, I mentioned that they are different shades. It's a gradient of blue that starts lighter and gets darker, so you're creating those 5 different layers. Even with the pips, 5 shades of blue creates a pretty tough gradient, and I found especially like the 5th and 4th level ocean tiles were close enough that I did occasionally get those mixed up, even though there are multiple pips, because I can't apparently be bothered to be counting sometimes. It looks great on the table, but those colors were awful close together. Another thing that I found a little bit, I'm not even going to call it frustrating or bad or anything, but something that I noted. Let's take the game Can't Stop as an example. Can't Stop is my favorite push your luck game. In it, you are rolling dice and trying to advance up a ladder of numbers. It's an extremely simple system. The turns are extremely simple, and because of that, it's extremely tense. I like that tension. I like turns to be simple and fast. In its effort to give you agency on your decisions, in an effort to give you more decisions and more strategy, the game itself tempers some of the excitement that it may otherwise have. And that is for the better. And I'll jump right into the positives here because you are given that more agency. And with that decision making and the process of deciding what might be best in terms of making the safe bet and scoring points, there's certainly less big risks and big rewards. The game is a safer push your luck game in that it will not be detrimental, and that is, it's a design feature, not a flaw. It is good that you can play this game and you can be completely through it and not get to a point where you feel, at least in the few plays that I had, not feel like there's no way I'm going to win this. You can make for big pushes, big plays, especially at the end of the game when you're like, I have got to get certain things in order to put myself into a higher lead. But it isn't like a game, it's not like a game like Can't Stop, where you could be halfway through the game and know for a fact that there is no chance that you're going to even compete. So you lose some of the thrills of, victory and the agony of defeat. And in its place comes a tempered, more mature game. That's kind of a weird term for it, but a game that gives you that push your luck element, that thrill, without being so agonizing when you lose so poorly, at the expense of sometimes losing some of those highs. If that is what you're looking for, if you're looking for a push your luck game that appeals to just about anybody and can be taught simply and does not risk a massive amount of time investment, then Deep Dive is the game for you. At least it's a game to consider. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know if you want to see more videos like this in the future. You can always find me on social media, just about anywhere, at Plumpy Thimble, in particular on TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram, and Facebook. I'm there too.